fill holes or gaps in coverage in places, and so we're in good shape right now. I don't know what that's going to look like in a few weeks, but we still do have some open positions. Other than that, we do have one appointment. Nicole Doobie is a bus driver. We have 5 resignations. Kelsey Stevens, teacher at Sabattis Primary. Cheryl Woodard, pre-K teacher at Libby Tozier. Jody Rayo, teacher at Carey Ricker School. Kelly Ledford, a custodian at Oak Hill Middle. And Allison Lilly, an Ed Tech 2 at Libby Tozier School.
And one retirement.
Oh, yes, and one
Yeah.
retirement. Sorry, Phyllis Rowe.
How long has she been here, Andy?
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
it's been a long time. Honestly, I don't remember.
Over 35.
Over 35.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, 40 years?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. So,
Yes, easy 40 years.
yeah, it's been a long time. So, you know, Phyllis had given a lot to RSU4.
We have some that are intro to it, and we have some that are advanced, so we're kind of leveraging that. Our special ed folks are having a session with Nancy to go over IEPs and other special ed updates. And then they also are having a session with me about assessments and evidence. So that's pretty much a global scale of what's happening this week. And then obviously, next week, we are starting with our cohort A, B, and C in person. Next week, this room will change into device D pickup, where they will be able to pick up their instructional materials as well as their devices, and then they will start the following week. So that's what's happening in the next couple weeks.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. So financial report, administrators report, principals reports.
All right, so let's have Marco go first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the time to check in and what's happening at Oak Hill High School. It's been a busy couple of days, to say the least, just with staff coming back into the building and reacclimating themselves to audio. Oh, sorry about that. Just reacclimating themselves to, the school, and obviously now in the COVID situation. And so in doing so, we've been really focusing on two aspects, both of which Kathy touched on, the first being the instructional aspect, and the second, the safety protocol. So we've been running the staff through, essentially what the students will be going through, just to have them experience what it feels like to be a student, at the high school during this time. So social distancing, temperature checks, walking them through the cafeteria line, what we served at breakfast, which was really helpful for the cafeteria staff, just to make sure that they had their process down. And it's really interesting because we've transformed a couple of spaces, our cafeteria obviously for serving food, but also half of the gym to do service of food too. And so we've been putting some of the additional desks that have been pulled out of classes to accommodate our class sizes with social distancing and put them in there so that we can ensure social distancing and get more kids in one space at one time. So again, as far as the safety protocols are concerned, following them to a T and making sure that staff has the experience and understanding of what's coming once we have students in the building. And then the other part of that, as I mentioned before, would be the instructional expectations. So just really prepping like we're completely remote. And I mean that in the sense that we have all of our documents and videos and such ready to roll in Google Classrooms, so that whether you're a student inside the building or outside the building, you're ready to rock and roll with your education. There's one aspect that I think is really interesting here. We talked about our remote numbers, but we've been working extremely hard to prep those students also, and I mean that in the sense of collecting all of the materials that they might need to access their education, collecting them out front in one of the main hallways. We have them all tagged and ready to go. They're nicely put together by administrative staff and our teachers, and I just want to thank them for their time and efforts for those students who will not be with us in the building. So all in all, it was a different start to the school year than one I've ever experienced. And I will say that the staff is cautious. I think they understand the gravity of the events that are transpiring around us, and they're asking all of the right questions and doing all of the right things to do the best they can to serve our students in our community. So I can't be more proud to be there on the front lines with them doing this work.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
All right, Ben? You're muted, Ben.
Mute!
Thank you for allowing us to offer up what's been going on in schools. I hate following Marco because I have to say ditto whenever he talks, but the staff has done a phenomenal job. There have been some concerns we have some difficulties with, like for instance, what to do with a 4-year-old at recess when we can't use the equipment, but we're working through that together. There are a lot of ideas out there, and we're still working on our SOPs to, make sure that we give a good experience to the kids of our community. At the middle school, we've done a phenomenal job getting together, getting our rooms ready, getting the, desks in place, practicing our protocols. We spent pretty much every other minute the last 2 days talking with staff about safety and safety concerns and how to keep themselves safe and how to keep students safe. And it's been a big push the last few days. And we're really looking forward to the training on the new software that we have coming, for us the next couple of days. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ben? Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
All right, Jamie.
So if it was challenging for Ben, it's twice as challenging for me to follow both of them. So lots of dittos. Staff have been amazing. It's so nice to see everybody back together. It does feel different, but it's been more normal than it has been at times. We're all sick of going over rules, but we're feeling pretty confident with them. We've tweaked some of our SOPs today after meeting and practicing running through them and seeing what needs were still there, and we're finalizing that stuff to have done this week before the kids are back. Last week we had pre-K and K screening at Libby Tozier as well as SPS with Mr. Wilson. I know I was super relieved to see 4-year-olds show up in the school with masks on, and maybe 2 or 3 kids struggled with it, but the rest of them it was no questions, no reminders needed. They came in with their mask on, they wore it the whole time. They did their screening with their masks on, and they left with them on. So that was a huge relief for me to see that the 4-year-olds could handle that at almost 100%, and knowing that we won't have to get them trained as much as we maybe were picturing we would. So I anticipate that the 5-year-olds and up will have much easier time with that than the 4-year-olds. So that was a welcome sigh of relief, I guess. Yeah, the buildings are starting to look better. Every single day there's a huge chunk of stuff that looks different. It's really coming together pretty quickly, fast and furious. Lots of extra time put in by all. Our custodial staff and maintenance staff have been amazing right now. At the snap of a finger coming in, fixing a problem we didn't know would exist a few months back. So that's been super helpful. It's starting to feel a little bit more like a normal year. So I'm looking forward to every day that improving a little bit more. We still have some work to do, but we're getting there, and I think we'll be good to go when the kids get there.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Okay. Special ed report.
That's you, Nancy. Oh, you're muted. Nancy, you're muted right now.
Sorry, well, good evening. Fortunately, we have been able to do some hiring of some ed techs, and we have a new social worker. We did that primarily in the month of August. Like all the gen ed staff, our special ed staff is really excited to see their students returning next week. I mean, over the summer, we had teachers who were begging to ride the buses when they were doing the food drop-off just to get a fleeting glimpse of one of their kids in the windows, that kind of thing. So they're really anticipating Monday very, very happily. We're gonna have some changes this fall, obviously. Of course, we prefer to meet in the same room as families at IEP meetings, but we're gonna be conducting all of our IEPs remotely, just to limit people entering the building. Along that same line of thinking, our providers who travel across the district, even across a day, will be strategic in their schedules to try to limit their comings and goings, as well as creatively trying to find some new spaces for them to work. As we know, some of those spaces are going to be devoted to the health and well-being around COVID checks and all of that. From March to June, we were unable to really safely conduct any kind of evaluations, which is a really big part of special education. So we have a lot of catch up to do, and currently we are prioritizing what those are gonna be and when we'll start. We're starting to have a lot of conversations with parents, sharing our thinking about what that student schedule and services are going to look like depending on what the cohort is that they're in. So that means a lot of communication and collaboration, even more than normal, between gen ed and special ed and families. And we're working It's pretty exciting.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Any questions? Okay, technology report. Laura Jean.
Hi, good evening, everybody. First, I want to let you know that our camera's being a little, yeah, it keeps going into economy mode, and so it's shutting off. And so we'll get it fixed shortly. But as far as the technology report, the techs are busy preparing devices for the students, so they're preparing them, dividing them out by cohort, so that all the Ds can come up here for next week, and then all the rest can go into the classrooms and be prepared for cohort A on Monday and C, and then cohort B on Thursday. At the same time, they're preparing the hotspots for families who are requesting hotspots. And while they're doing all this, they're also making sure that we don't issue another device to a family that may not have returned a device. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that as well. And they're doing a great job helping, teachers get ready for the classroom, helping the new staff that are coming in, preparing all the programs like Seesaw, Freckle, Classroom. They're going to be doing a couple PD sessions tomorrow and Friday. And and then we're preparing for the new, for the STAR assessment window that starts on the first day of school. So how's that?
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, then moving on to adult ed athletic report. Palmer.
Good evening. I hope to have a little bit more information for you guys tonight in regards to athletics, but we're still in a holding pattern. Currently, we're in the extension of phase 4, which has been going on for over 3 weeks now, which is just skill building and drills, but no competition yet. The MPA met with the state and school officials today to review the current guidelines that were proposed. It sounds like there's some tweaking still. There's some questions about, I believe, masks being worn during some of the events. So I think that's what's holding things up right now. But the letter that came out to us today from the MPA at about 5 p.m. said that hopefully a decision will be made tomorrow in regards to what sports going to be offered and what they'll look like, if they'll be competitive or have an intramural feel to them. But like I said, we'll know more tomorrow. Right now, the preseason date is currently September 14th. If we were to have seasons, that would be next Monday. We would start with a preseason, and then gameplay would start on September 23rd. As far as the sports and how they're leveled with risk, football was deemed high risk, which puts it in a tough category to be able to have a season competitively. But all the other fall sports were medium, and golf and cross country were medium risk with the possibility of playoffs if we staggered start times and broke up the groups. So that's kind of an update on where we are with the MPA and the state agencies. One piece of really good news is Coach Roussette's memorial stone and plaque came in this past week. It looks great. We're going to try to put some mulch around it. We have it by the stands. Currently, right now, though, we can't really pick a date as to when we're going to dedicate the field because we don't know what our schedule is going to look like, or even what the number of people we can have in an event will look like. So that's kind of on hold at this point. As far as adult ed, we're slated to start on Monday, September 14th. The plan is to reduce the number of people we have that come in to use our space and to follow all the social distancing protocols. But I will say, primarily our focus will be high-step testing and high school diploma. Enrichment's going to be a little tough to offer other than doing it remotely because of the numbers issues. So we're going to try to focus on getting students to pass the high set and get their high school diploma credential. And that's it.
Okay, any questions?
Jim, did you just say that Richmond is going to be part of our adult ed now?
No. I said in Richmond.
In Richmond, sorry, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any other questions?
So I went up and saw the stone,
Oh, it's
the day, it's
beautiful.
gorgeous, I'll send
Yeah.
a picture out to everybody, so, yeah,
It's
it
beautiful.
really is nice.
All right, I was a little disappointed, MPA came out with their notice, having asked the state for input, but like, gave the state no time, so you would think they'd want the input back before they'd put out their guidance and then have to fall back on it, but it is what it is, so we'll wait to see what word comes out tomorrow or whenever it is done. And we'll have-
I will say it has been a frustrating process, with the constant delays. I know that they're trying to, make the right decision, whether that be to have sports or not have sports or extra and co-curricular. But it has been frustrating. Our coaches have done a great job hanging in there and, keeping the kids positive at the workout sessions and just telling them, have some patience and, keep your fingers crossed that we have a season, so.
All right. No other questions? We don't have a student rep this year for the board?
We will.
We will.
Once school's back in session, and I'm
Okay.
sure Marco will find us someone.
Are there any other reports?
None from me.
So we move to comments from the floor, and I'd like to, before I open it up, remind those who may be new to attending our board meetings via Zoom, that this comment period is for an opportunity for residents to go and speak on issues. And it's basically an opportunity to make comments. It's not an exchange back and forth, it's not a discussion item. It's an opportunity for someone to make comments, as long as they are not directed, not derogatory towards any staff member. And we don't name students by name usually, even if it's your own student. We try and keep that confidentiality as much as possible on all the issues. And before we get into it, because I was involved with a lot of discussion about the budget, the full budget has been put out on our website. It's under school board budgets, and then I think it says approved budget. It's all 46 pages. And for those who are interested in the $105,000 for the school board, that starts on line number 1093. So you can go down to 1093 and you can see where that $105,000 is spread out. So these cost centers are all dictated by the state on where we have to go and account for certain expenditures. And that's why you'll find things in each of the classifications that might seem a little strange, but that's where we have to account for them. So that being said, in case people were going to discuss those things, which I saw out on Facebook, I just mentioned those ahead of time. And so at this time, I'll open it up for comments. If you would raise your hand if you're on Zoom, or you can chat.
Okay. We have one person on Zoom, Diane Whalen.
Oh, Diane.
Hi, everybody. It's exciting that school's starting next week, but I'm just bringing some concerns that we have at Carrie Ricker that teachers have brought to me, and I also have the concerns as well. Today's Wednesday. We don't have any signage up. There are no signs. There's nothing on the floor. There's nothing marked for any of the kids or for the teachers as well. We went over SOPs today and protocols. However, nothing is definite. We don't even know for sure, so I can't even write up, make something available for the kids because I really am not sure how it's going to work. I'm not the only one with that concern. Some of the teachers did not have their supplies yet. That's a concern. Also, the air purifiers that are in our classrooms, I wasn't sure how they worked. And when I was in here during the weekend doing some work in my classroom, a purifier went on in a teacher's classroom, and I went by the door and I could smell an awful smell under the door. So I went around to another classroom, went through, and the purifier was on. So I did a little bit of research, and I'm not sure if anybody has been reading into how the purifiers work, but the setting was set so high that it smelled like chlorine in there. So you really have to make sure that these are set up prior to school beginning, because they do give you an odor. So if they're set too high, they're going to smell like chlorine. If they set too low, they're going to make it smell musty. And this purifier in my classroom can take care of 750 square feet. Our classrooms are only 150 or whatever. So it's like, it was running on that. It's like overkill. It's like really giving a lot of odor. So that really needs to be like working before Monday comes. And today was our last day in the classroom working, and tomorrow and Friday are virtual. I wish these things would be settled before school starts Monday. I really have concerns for that. I have asthma and I don't want someone to get sick from that. So it really needs to be addressed before we bring kids in on Monday. If you have kids that are asthmatic or anything like that, that's going to affect them if you start this just on Monday. So those are the concerns I bring to you now.
Okay, so hopefully you've taken that through the building principal's administration, because that would be the proper direction to go through. And if, then it could come to the board then as a discussion item in a future, if you would want to pursue it further at that point in time.
I'm just making you aware so that, yes, I did. I spoke with Jamie today and Michael and talked to them about it as well. But, you need to be aware of it as well, not just them.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we also have, Marco would like to comment.
Okay, I don't want to get in discussion back and forth about topics, because these are comments from the floor, so people can make their comments. There isn't a time to discuss it. So Marco, if you want to make a comment to the floor, as long as we're not getting into a back and forth on any particular topic.
Yeah, I don't believe so, Bob. I mean, I just in my report about the high school, I was just thinking about all of the hard work that the custodial staff has been doing to clean the building, prep the building. I'm saying this not as a rebuttal or in contrary to what Diane said. It was just more of a statement that I appreciate their hard work.
Okay, thank you. Are there other comments?
I don't have any at this point.
No other comments from the floor?
Nope.
Okay, at this point, we'll move into old business. Old business, 5.1, entertain a motion to approve the second reading of the following policy. AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, and affirmative actions.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. These are the same ones that we looked at, had the first reading on last 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So any comments?
Now, I would just like to remind everyone that these policies are done under federal and state guidelines.
Thank you. The only thing I noticed about most of these comments is the header all look different on them than any ones that we've ever adopted before. So, kind of in the upper right-hand corner, it just looks different.
Yeah, and our formatting will go on these, when they're adopted. There's some bold, things that need to come out of them, just the guidance portions of them.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get them in our format.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Bob?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Vicky? Vicky?
Yeah.
Thank you. Couldn't hear you. Joan?
Yes.
And Andrea?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything prohibits me from putting it all together?
I don't see why not. We've
I don't
already
see why
gone
not.
over 'em.
No, you can take them all together.
Okay, so if there's no objection from any of the board members, I'd like to go and combine the remaining ones for second reading into one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we combine items 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6 into one item for second reading of the policies. So we'll take a vote to approve this motion to combine them.
Okay.
And then we'll take a vote to approve the policies. So roll call to combine the articles.
All right, who motion?
I did.
Robbie motioned it,
And Jen?
and Jen
Yeah.
seconded it.
Okay. Bob?
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Andrea.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. So now, entertain a motion to approve for second reading the policies that were just combined under Articles 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll call vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. We'll move to 5.7 for an update on school opening.
Well, and I know, so thank you all. So I know Kathy's talked about the instructional component of things. I just kind of wanted to give an update on where buildings are at. So I had sent out earlier in the day to those of you, board members that are there, an update. I made a couple of changes afterwards. I'll send you the new one, but everybody here has it in front of you. So I got to echo what Marco says. Glenn and the custodial staff have been working their fingers to the bone. I'll be quite candid. I mean, they are doing some amazing things. We've been a little short-staffed in places, and they have just stepped up and really done an amazing job in our buildings. They're not quite there yet, but they will be. They will have some staff in over the weekend to finish a few things, but overall, I feel really good about where we are. So just kind of going down the list real quick. At this point, we have over 10,000 pieces of PPE in the district. So we're still waiting on gowns. Those should be here tomorrow. Those are the hardest items to get right at the moment, but they should be here by the end of the day tomorrow. And we're continuing to place bi-weekly orders for PPE, just to make sure that we have it on hand. My big concern is as we get a month or two into this, that supplies will start to get limited again, especially if there's a spike. And so we just want to make sure we have on hand what we need. We also have, I don't even know how many gallons of hand sanitizer at this point. That's just behind us over here, there's gotta be 300 gallons of it. And that's just a minute portion of what we have throughout the district. So building signage and floor markings are in the process of going up and will be completed by Friday. Most of this is traffic flow, where to stand, reminders to socially distance, reminders to wear masks. If you go to the high schools is all up. Sabatis, the Oak Hill Middle School is all up. We've been a little short-staffed in other places, but they'll be going up this week. You know, they're good markings on the floor. I should have put a picture in here, I apologize for that. Barriers for our main office staff are all up. We currently have temporary barriers. Stan Labby does some amazing things, and he actually built some barriers for Libby Tozier and Carrie Ricker because the desk setups there were a little different, and we needed a quality glass to come back and put those in. But every main office has a barrier set up in and installed. One of the things that we're finding is, and we talked about this last time, we have a surplus of equipment, a surplus of desks, chairs, things like that. Those all had to get out to make room. So we've ordered temporary storage containers. If you go to Oak Hill High School, you'll see two big ones. They almost look like train cars to some degree. They've been delivered there. Tomorrow they'll get delivered at Libby Tozier and Carrie Ricker, and then the middle school and Sabatis Primary on Friday. Custodial staff is working on getting all that stuff out and stored, and that's one of the reasons they're coming in over the weekend to do that as well. It takes time to get these things. Like, apparently roll-off storage containers are hard to come by right at the moment. So, bus runs are posted on the website. Our drivers have run their runs a minimum of 3 times. One of the things it's hard to do is get times exact when you don't have students, so we've got some rough estimates. Basically what we did was they ran their full run, then they scaled back to every other stop and kind of did that a couple of times just to get some approximate times out there. They won't be perfect day one, I'll be quite candid, until we really know what they look like. But they've done that numerous times. Our counts on our buses look pretty good right now. I think last I saw was 30 was the highest on a bus, Kathy, was the number I saw.
Yep.
The bus barriers are not in yet for the driver, but as soon as they in, we'll begin the install on those. We are currently hiring bus aides, so one thing to note is all these things that we're purchasing have not hit the regular budget. I'm very thankful for the federal government's COVID relief funds, because I'll be quite honest, without those funds, we wouldn't have been able to do this. You know, when we talk about just the purifying fans alone, those were about $45,000. And so consequently, you know, if we hadn't had those COVID relief funds, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So, we're gonna get some bus aides, so we currently have some, we're in the process of hiring them. Right now, we don't have enough for each bus, so Larry and Glenn are working on where our highest numbers are, where our youngest learners are, to make sure we get some support for our drivers. Air purifying units are being delivered throughout the district. We ordered 400 of them. 150 came in this week, another 250, last week, another 250 are scheduled to come in this week. Head custodians will be managing the settings on those. Unfortunately, they got played with when they got delivered, and so they got set in wrong places, you know, and so consequently, the head custodians will be going around and resetting those to where they need to be. On a good note, and all of this is a good note, but a waiver has happened for us to continue the summer food service program, so all meals will be free for all students. And we've figured out how we can deliver meals on Wednesdays as well. So that will be happening. So it's pretty exciting that waiver is out there. I made the decision to bring in a floating sub into each building. We need somebody to handle the temperature scanners in the morning, but also, we'll have staff out. We're just gonna need some extra hands on deck. So each building will have a floating sub 4 days a week to help out where we need to be if we get somebody called out sick. You know, we've been talking about this for a long time. Scott and I and Kathy have been talking about the need to have a floating sub in every building anyway during regular times. So this is a trial run. Again, COVID relief funds are out there for this. By Friday, all staff have been trained on SOPs, the CDC COVID trainings, as well as all state mandated trainings. And on Friday, our open house videos, you gotta go take a look at them, will be posted on our website and our Facebook pages. All in all, a ton of work has gone in here. I toured, Kathy and I went to every single building yesterday, and I think we hit every classroom, didn't we, Kathy? And it was really nice to see people in buildings talking about kids. There is a somber mood right now, if I'm being honest. You know, people are nervous, and I get that. This is a whole new way of doing business, and it's just gonna take flexibility and time for us to kind of work through the bumps. There will be bumps in the road. It won't be perfect to start, but we are, committed to making sure we iron those things out as we go along. All in all, I think we're in pretty good shape. I really do. I feel good about it. So.
Any questions? Okay, new business, 6.1. Maine School Superintendent Association, Maine School Board Association Fall Conference.
So, as you know, typically in October is the MSSA, MSVA conference at the Civic Center. Obviously, that's not being held in its normal way this year, but they are putting on a virtual conference. And so I sent it to those of you that are out there on the Zoom. I sent you an email with the brochure in it, and everybody here has one. So it's a virtual conference on October 30th and 31st. I will say, Judge John Broderick Jr. is speaking. Kathy and I saw him. Where did we see him?
Last January.
The convocation?
Yeah.
Yeah, the winter convocation. He is fantastic. He tells a great story about his son and substance abuse, and it was pretty moving. So, I know that typically some of us have gone to this. If you'd like to attend, please let me know. There'll be more information coming, but I just wanted you to know this is how they were going to be doing it this year.
But they have not always done this on Friday, Saturday. Normally it's been Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, yeah.
That, I'm like,
yeah, I know that was a big change. I'm not sure
Right.
where that change came from. So yeah, it's always been Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 6.2, discussion of scheduling and meeting with local legislators.
So every year around this time, we talk about whether or not we want to have a meeting with our local legislators. I enjoy it. I don't know about everybody else, but if that's something we want to do, I think I need to get on scheduling at this point. So I didn't know if that's something we want to continue, if we don't want to this year. I'm good either way. I just find that conversation to be pretty productive when we have it, so.
I think it's helpful, but I wouldn't schedule it till after November.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah, I wouldn't
say
do it
that.
until December anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and, because the session will start in January, so December, we'll know who's gonna be doing what, and those would be the ones we'd like to talk to.
Yep.
In case there are any changes, and who will be our representatives, but I think that they have been informative, in the past. I think for both parties. So, I have no objection.
Nope, I think that's a great idea.
No, and when we do it via Zoom and all, the public can hear, which in the past, they usually didn't show up.
Well, and the good thing now, Joan, too, is we're streaming live on the internet as well.
Yeah.
So the public will be able to see that as well.
Yeah, so there'll be good communication out there.
Yeah.
All right, so I will work on that. I'm gonna wait. The election is coming in November, but I just kind of wanted to have it on my to-do list if that was something to do. And I will reach out after the election and get that scheduled. I have a feeling they're gonna have a very busy session, so if we can get them in December, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, you could probably go out to all the running with, just a notice that we are going to invite whoever,
No, that's a good idea.
so it can be put on calendars ahead of time, because once they are elected, their calendars are gonna fill up really quick.
Yes, yes, very quick. So, all right, I will put that on my to-do list and start on that.
Okay. Committee reports, finance facilities will be next meeting.
Yep, next meeting.
Personnel
Oh, I do
policy.
have something to say, the water test at the high school passed.
That's right.
good.
So we have potable water at the high school.
And that's from the Sabatis?
Yep,
All right, super.
Yep, that's a great project to have done.
yeah. Long time coming.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Personnel policy committee,
We just had the second reading of the policies, and that's where we're pretty up to date with policies, aren't we, Andy?
Well, yes, to now. However, like I said, last week I dusted off the policy book and I started working on some new ones for you. It's been one of those things that needs to get done, but every time it comes around that I start working on it, some fire starts to burn. So I'm working on a new batch. We're in a new section of the policy book, so those will be forthcoming. It's just that we're in a time-consuming portion of the policy book at this point.
Okay, so that's where we are.
okay, for the curriculum assessment instruction and technology committee.
We met this evening and everything that Kathy presented earlier was what she presented to us. The entire, learning plan for the district for this upcoming school year. So hopefully, I was surprised to see how many, homeschool and cohort D students there are. So we'll see how it all rolls out, but a tremendous amount of work and accountability on all behalves in that, and it looks really good.
Okay. Board member comments.
I just want to make one quick comment. I had two people, happen to be out and about, and they were very happy with our Zooming. They are from the public, and they complimented us on keeping them informed.
It's good to
So I
hear.
just wanted to pass that out there. There were two people that I ran into when I was doing out and about things.
All right.
So they're happy with the school board, let's put it that way.
All right, well, we've always tried to be transparent, but it was always in person, and it was whoever attended got the information, and if you didn't attend, you got secondhand information that probably wasn't 100% accurate. So hopefully we can make more people informed. That's
Well, we
always,
seem to be doing that with these meetings.
yeah, that's always a positive.
Well, and the other thing to note is after we have the meetings, the recordings of them get put on the website. So
Yeah.
I think that helps as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Any other comments? So I'll take this opportunity to thank all of the staff of RSU4. Whatever position you may be in, every position is just as important as every other one. It takes a total team to make things work, and I believe that our team has done a super job in preparing and getting ready to bring our students back and to teach those at home who elect to stay at home and receive their education remotely. So I want to thank them all. There is no one that's least or no one that's more of the team. You know, the old saying, there's no me in team, or no I in team, it's a me deal. So, you know, we have to work together. And so for the public out there, the parents, and any students who might be listening, I ask that you provide the feedback that will be needed to make sure that our programs work efficiently and effectively. So bear in mind, there'll be some rough edges, but we don't want to ignore them. We want to be able to take care of them as soon as we can. So please contact the building administrator or your student's teacher, wherever that might be, or the central office, with your concerns about something that you don't think is working right. Knowing that nothing's going to be perfect and never was before and never will be in the future, so it certainly won't be next week, but we're going to give it our best. So I thank everybody ahead of time for some patience and some understanding, and give us the feedback. It's only with your feedback, positive feedback, to be part of the solution, that we can make this better and make it as good as we can for the students. That's our job, is to provide the best education that the communities can afford for the students of our towns. So we need to try and do that, and that takes everybody in the community to be involved. Are there any other comments? No executive sessions. We have no other business to come before the board. So without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, all. Thank you for joining us.